Hey guys, it's Go here from Aimon14, and I'm finally back on YouTube, guys, with another guide video. So this one has really taken a lot of time. I've actually been preparing for this since, I want to say, late June or early July. Definitely before I even made my last profit video. Some of the information here can be translated onto the Marshall Sage class as well. This is kind of a general tank guide, but we're going to focus it on the profit because in my opinion, I think that the tank profit is probably more successful. We have I'll open up here. We have our shield breaking here that is really, really good. You know, the warrior doesn't have this, so I think that since it's hard, unless you're going against another prophet as a prophet, even if you're going against a warrior, you kind of would have the advantage using the same build on the Marshall Sage compared to the Prophet. Just for this reason alone, you're going to get more value, actual value out of your shielding when you use the Tank Prophet class. So to start out, I'm going to go ahead and show my gear and my character panel stats. So you can see here for the most part that I am using skill crit and regen. We all know how gear goes at this point, so there's some sacrifices here and there. There's a stun regen that I have there and also another stun regen here. However, most of my gear pieces are skill crit regen to the point where I can access this percentage value here. And what you want to focus on is the regeneration percentage stat. And I would recommend at least 3.5. But I think that I really started seeing the value in my build using this when I hit near 5%. And you'll see when you start building it and working on it, it's kind of hard to get the regeneration percentage value stat up. I'm going to show you some ways that I did it here, of course. But this is mostly what you want to look for, as well as you want to have a very high HP amount. And I know for some players, 90, I'll round up to 98 million. I know that's not a lot to some people. But for avid watchers of my channel, you know that I don't spend a lot of money on the game. I really try to keep things in a context that most players can relate to and actually try to obtain and achieve in the game without spending a ton of money. So you want your HP up. You want your regen stat at least 3.5%. So for your prayer statue, you want your HP up. So it's not perfect, I know. I used a lot of fruit on the last prayer rush. I did not get very lucky, so we're working with one global attack that I really did not want to let go for just a chance at extra HP. And of course, we have one SS global HP that I would love to replace. But yeah, just did not have a full amount of luck. But you want your prayer statue to look something like this. Preferably 5 global HP, to be honest with you. Hopefully you get luckier than I did. For my back accessory talents, I mostly focused on the trees. I maxed the base stats, so your attack, your defense, and your HP. You want to max those as best as you can. And I got some skill damage on the side along with counter damage res. But the main ones that you want to focus on is this talent here. It's in the blue section of the archery tree. And you want to get this healing amount stat. That is what you generally want to look for in any chance that you can get it. You definitely want to go for it. And so kind of experimenting with the healing rate. I'll get to that at another time, but really you want to focus on your healing amount more so. And do not sacrifice your base stats if you don't have to in order to max this. As well as the Fury Tree, I went into the yellow or orange section of the Fury Tree in order to max the regeneration slot again. So that's a total of 0.4 healing bonus from the back accessory tree without sacrificing a lot of base stats. You can see that all my base stat values are still maxed. So we're sitting, pretty good in the back accessory talent area. We didn't sacrifice too much in order to get our regen. As for your artifact enchants, I think the most important thing that you want to try to get is this healing amount. I know that's like living on a prayer, really. But that's what you want to look for. You want to try to find this healing amount wherever you can, and you want to try to accumulate on that as much as possible. You can see here that, like I said, it's kind of living on a prayer. You're going to have to get really, really lucky for it to work out that way. But your most important thing is to go for, your healing amount. Try not to sacrifice too much of your res or your skill crit damage or your stun. But the main point is your healing amount, and in your 6th slot, you want to go for your crit res bonus. That is going to give you more tankiness against a lot of the crit builds that are going on at the moment. You are not going to get as much value out of the other stat options in the 6th slot. So, the mount that you want to use, I don't have a lot of options. Like I said, and like many of my avid watchers know, I do not spend money, and so I try to work with what I have. So I compared between the Pepe mount that I got, the Cloud Drifter that I talked about in my last profit video, and the Magic Carpet. And it turns out that I like the Magic Carpet the most. And I know that this was intended to be for PvE. But actually, when you're using this build, at least in the way that I'm using it at the moment, the Magic Carpet is very good because it functions a lot like the Scythe artifact does. Where you have, I'd say, based on the skill usage, you have a 40 or 60% chance when this procs for it to be a very useful skill, like another Blitz, another Nature's Renewal, another Disarm. Maybe you're using Blade Pierce. I'll get to the skills and everything in a minute. But these long cooldown skills that even when you have skill energy regen, it takes a while for them to come off cooldown. And this is going to help you kind of spam those. And every once in a while, the RNG is really good. And I seem to get more value out of that than any of the others. The Cloud Drifter. So basically the point of this build, honestly, is for you to be able to survive more than anything. There is a mechanic in the game where if someone attacks you and they do not kill you, they automatically lose. You just win by default. You did not kill them, but they did not kill you, and they are the ones that attacked you. That's actually what this type of build is exploiting and taking advantage of. I mean, it's pretty broken, really, but that's the whole intent. And so you don't really need the Cloud Drifter for that, right? Because you don't need more attack. You don't need to kill your opponent, really. You just need to survive. That's it. You need to survive for 2 minutes. And that's what this build is going to allow. For the artifact, I still only have the Pepe launcher, so it's the only thing I can really compare with. But I have talked to some other people about it, and I think that the Pepe launcher is great for this. And I also think that the duck chainsaw is very good as well. Maybe the duck chainsaw could be better because you're reducing their attack, and it's just a little bit more effective over time, especially if you're trying to kill someone. But I think that the Pepe artifact is doing just fine for me here. For our flying pet, I am using this here, the Dense Cloud. And I have some decent passive effects. I've really been trying to get some better ones. I'm trying to get Inert Gas, which is another skill crit. But overall, if you can get 1 skill crit damage affix, with this regen ability. This is the big one as well. And this is going to increase, of course, your regen stat by 16%. Going from there, our pals are going to change from the last profit guide that I made. And now we are going to use the Hydro Sprite, the Treasure Dragon, the Angel Deer, the Hipster Tortoise, and the Warrior Panda, or Kung Fu Master. And the reason why we're using the Kung Fu Master is the 40% HP regen. It's giving you a bonus to your HP regen stat, your generation stat that I showed in the character panel at the beginning of the video. We're going back to Angel Deer for the damage res, just to tank. You know, the whole idea is just to survive. So that leads you to why we're using the Hipster Tortoise as well. Sometimes, let's say you're going against an archer or you're going against a very high damage build. They catch a 2 or 3 second window where they get a lot of damage off on you. Well, this is a good way to kind of fail safe. Pad yourself until the next blitz. Pad yourself until the next disarm. Or the next shield. Or whatever it is that, you know, you're using in the build to just pretty much stay alive. As well as your regen. Because you really need to think, if your regen is 5%, and this is a hypothetical. If your regen is 5%, then when you cast Blitz Assault, you are hypothetically going to heal 15% of your HP during the 3-second immunity of Blitz Assault. So that's kind of the whole idea, is really you're not using your skills to kill people. You're really using your skills just to survive and just to allow yourself to keep healing. And the skills that I'm using here, I'd like to talk about this just for a moment. So I don't think that this is necessarily the most optimal setup. So you could very well use Take It Slow instead of Disarm, I would say, or maybe even the Shield skill. And I think there's some room in here also where if you are trying to kill people, you want a little bit of damage. I would definitely consider using Blade Pierce in one of these options. But don't give up Easy Breezy, and don't give up Blitz Assault, okay? But I think the others, you know, it's malleable, right? Like there's room for improvement here. I'm sharing this with you guys today because I feel comfortable where the build is at for now, where I can share with you guys, and you guys are free to make it better, make it your own, make improvements. I am all for that. So I'm sharing it with you today based on the success that I've had so far, and I do think that even this setup here is quite viable. I could see some improvements coming in the future though. And so for the back accessory, I still only have the lustrous plumage, going along the fact that I do not spend a lot of money on the game, and you can kind of take solace in that. These aren't really required things that you need for the build, although I would say Magic Carpet and Pepe Artifact are pretty useful. But are these wings making a big difference? I don't really think so. Defense doesn't really seem to be very helpful. I don't know if you guys have a different opinion on that, but it seems like out of defense, HP, and attack, defense seems to be weighted the least. It's just a little less productive than the others. So I really don't think that this is in any way a necessity at all. So yeah, we have our flying pet. We have our mount chosen, our magic carpet, our Pepe artifact, our 5% regen here. Another source of regen is this right here, your pink HP soul. So you see that I'm basically getting 2 of those Kung Fu Masters off of this pink soul. So I would consider this to be an absolute requirement in order to make this build. Your regen is not going to be, I would say, high enough. Like, I've seen people at like 7%, 8%, And so I think even 5% is where I'm at now, is not really as high and as optimal as it can get. But it's definitely enough to pinpoint you in the right direction of where to build, what this build is like, and how to prepare it and go from there. So you absolutely definitely want your HP Pink Soul. So guys, I'm going to do a showcase here for everything kind of set in motion here. Everything I've showed you so far, the skills, the pals, the mount, the artifact, the back talents. I'm going to throw it all together for you, and I'm going to show you exactly what it's like. And I would like you to keep in mind that the object here is not to kill your opponent. It is to survive and never die whenever you are attacked. And I know that's very counterintuitive from how we might have played in the past, but this, I think, is probably going to be the meta, because you need to think in all the PvP scenarios that you are getting attacked rather than you are attacking. You're cross-server parking. It's particularly useful in Showdown because, you're wasting 2 minutes. If you get someone in a battle and they're on 13-minute timer for their invasion. Well, every time that you fight them, you're wasting 2 minutes of their time. And those are just two very small examples of how it's just extremely effective. If you don't die when someone attacks you in parking, they think that they can kill you, they're 5 million above you or something, and you just don't die, well, they're going to lose, even if you didn't kill them. And most of the time, if someone spends more money than you, killing them isn't always an option anyway. So you're getting a lot more value out of your resources playing the game this way. So I'm going to go ahead and skip. It's obvious we're not going to kill him, right? It's been a minute and a half. He's barely half HP. I'm going to skip. I was the one who attacked him. I didn't kill him. So I lost. But you see that my HP really did not move. So that's the goal. The goal is, for your HP, you just don't die. Even I'll try to find someone who kind of gives me a little bit more of a run for my money here. This guy has almost 10 million power on me. And of course, I'm going to lose because I'm the one that's attacking and I did not build enough damage here. But you'll see that, he's got a lot of power on me, and so he's going to do damage. But you see my HP whenever the blitz procs. You see my HP whenever the shield is up. And you see that really, my health just won't go down, and that's the whole idea. This is how this fight is going to go. I'm going to get bursted a little bit here and there. But if I get with the magic carpet, if I get lucky with a double blitz, if I get a really nice roll on 15 seconds off of my nature's renewal, then, we're golden. But you can see here, it's been a full minute. This guy has 10 million power on me. I'm going to lose because I attacked. But if he attacked me and he doesn't kill me because of this build, then he is going to lose. You won't lose your parking space. You'll waste time in invasion and showdown. And so you see, this is just the way it's going to go. My HP is still just going right back up. So I'll go ahead and skip. He's not going to kill me in 30 seconds if I haven't dropped from here in a minute and a half. So yeah, you see my health just goes right back up whenever there's a window there. And that's the whole idea behind the build, is for you to simply survive everything, no matter what. I will try this warrior here, just to kind of showcase a couple fights. Yeah, see, it's stagnant, But you have to think, I mean, this is the ultimate defense, you know, and there's a saying, you know, that the best offense is a good defense, and, you know, best defense is a good offense. So we're kind of picking the former over the latter this time around. We're going to say that defense is the better option. And overall, I mean, there's a good chance that I win this. Of course, it's going to take like 10 years because we have no real attack going on, right? We have very low offensive capabilities with this build. And that's why I mentioned before that maybe you would prefer to use Blade Pierce, because if you're spamming Blade Pierce, you're going to get a lot of that max HP damage off. But you see, we're about to win this fight. Fight went on for over a minute. At the end of the day, my HP did not move, you know, and that's the whole idea behind this build. And if you prepare it properly, this is exactly what any player can do. Like I said, I'm not a big spender. I never plan to be. I don't think that anything I have is like super unattainable for you guys. And let's do one more against an archer, because that's why I like to use my disarm. Let's see how this goes here. You know, like, mages do not like archers, right? So we'll see how it goes. Sometimes it can be a little RNG. You really want that magic carpet to proc double disarm if you can. But you see here, I mean, we're taking no damage. I mean, it's constant shield, it's constant nature's renewal, disarm, blitz assault. And that is in combination with the active skill regen that you get from your dense cloud, and also the regen that you get from your hydro sprite. So guys, I really hope that this guide helps you today. I'm really happy to be back and sharing this information with you guys. I apologize for your long wait. If you decide to use this guide as a footnote into developing your guide, or your build rather, then I imagine you'll kind of understand why this took so long. You need all the gear. You need a lot of back feathers, you know, the red feathers. And so guys, once again, I hope that this helps out a lot. And thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you next time.